And hello and welcome. Thank you very much for joining us today. We're having a little bit more of an informal talk today because the subject of today's show is I am sick of politics. And as much as I think it's important, and as much as I want to vote and get into this election and get it done with, but I do want to get it done with because I am tired of talking about it. So I have a panel of people to just chew the fat with on whatever topic people want to talk about. And so today we have John Peterson.
Hello.
Kitty the Ice Queen.
Hi.
Julie LaVoice.
Hello.
And Jen from Jen's Little Corner.
Hi.
And pretty soon B from Be the Family will be here as well. B just got home from work and B's got to get a couple of things, but B will be here soon. And so with that, everybody who's here today has been on my show before, so I think everybody knows everyone. Let's go ahead and say hello to the people in the chat. The Lone Wanderer is here. Hello, welcome. Thank you for coming. Robert X is here. Hamilton is here. Junk Shop was here. I don't see him there's Junk Shop.
Yeah, they're coming right back.
Okay, and a very stable milking stool is here. So welcome everyone who has come to join us. And Sandy the Sane and Robin. Hello, Robin. That's who's all here. And does anyone want to rant about how sick they are of politics, or do you want to talk about something else?
Well, first I want to repeat something I said before the stream, that these lovely ladies have told me that they'll take it easy on me because I'm the only representative from the weaker sex here tonight. So.
Okay, I'm glad we're in solidarity there.
Yeah.
I can jump on that bandwagon.
Well, I had said earlier that, usually YouTube streams tend to be kind of sausage fest, so it's nice to have a nice estrogen ocean to chill in.
Dude, this is the second one today for me, where it's been mostly
Really?
women. Yeah, second one in the same day. And you're right.
How did you manage that?
I don't know. Just nice people ask.
How many snakes did you have to choke to get that?
I didn't. Dave's critical questions was all women's and Pat Pig and Dave. And yeah, so
that's not bad.
Oh, so anyway, no, I am so sick of politics. I recently went through my email and had to find the very, very tiny, unsubscribe, stop sending me stuff. You know who I'm voting for. I've already donated all I can donate because I'm laid off like 3 million other Americans. I need you to chill and leave me alone. And so that's how sick of it I am at this point.
Hi, B, lovely.
Hi, B.
Hello, B.
Hi, everybody.
Thank you for joining us.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know if I remember what the topic is after that long day, but I'll play along. Go ahead.
Well,
the topic is trying to avoid talking about a certain orange mung bean who lives in Washington.
Oh, the mango Mussolini.
The mango Mussolini. I like that one.
I like that one a lot.
Oh, yeah.
That's great.
Well, because Mussolini failed first. If he was the failed fascist, he just...
Oh, yeah.
Nope.
Hey, guess what, kids? Study your 20th century history. Fascism doesn't work. It's not good.
No. Well,
it hasn't yet.
Mm-mm.
Well, I mean, when it comes down to it, it's essentially and I know it's supposed to be not politics. We'll get that out of the way first, and then we can just talk about whatever.
Yeah.
But no, I think it's more so unfettered capitalism is what doesn't work, because capitalism is heartless and puts a profit motive on things like, human life. Because it's I don't agree with AOC on everything, but the one thing that, she brought up was look, when it comes to healthcare, saving your own life or saving your child's life, there is nothing you won't pay. You will leave yourself destitute to try to save yourself or someone you love. That should never be on the table. Full stop. Any system that would put someone in that position is flawed and failed, but anyways,
Well,
my little
universal
rant is over.
healthcare should be
Now
a
let's
human
move on.
right.
Thank
Yes,
you. Yeah,
absolutely.
universal healthcare should be a human right, and
Okay.
and that's what
How
I
can
think
you-
that's part of our problem right now. Is like everything is political at the moment. It's hard to get away. Sorry,
But
go ahead.
honestly, everything is always political. When you think about it, everything
No, it
ties
hasn't
back to
always been
politics.
this way.
It hasn't been so much that people talk about it, but when you actually think about it, everything ties back to politics. Like, the roads and your schools and, your local issues. Like, it doesn't matter if it's on a citywide level or the national level. Politics is intertwined in our everyday lives in every aspect of our lives.
That's true, but what I really meant was that it wasn't always so partisan.
No, I agree with
that
that.
is
I-
a
yeah.
completely separate issue, but yes.
Wait, though. I gotta offer a little blowback to that. If you go back and you look at the political atmosphere in the 19th century, from like when we created the nation, up until the 20th century, it was brutal. I mean, and all they had back then were handbills and newspapers, and just some of the stuff that they said about one another back and forth was just unbelievable. I mean, and of course the way they talked back then, it amounts to, they would, say things like, basically, fuck you, you're a pedophile, but it didn't read like that because it was in that, flowery Victorian English,
Yeah, there's a reason
Right.
there were so many duels in the 18th.
Yeah, exactly.
But because honestly, your reputation publicly mattered in a way that it often still does, but
Yeah.
so there are fewer. I don't know.
Well, it's because, like, okay, back then the world was so small.
Yeah.
That everything about your life was your locality, your small town or whatever. And then, they didn't have social media, but everybody knew everybody in these whatever groups they were in, whether it was a small town or sections of a larger city like New York City. And they didn't have TV or any of that, so gossip was like an entertainment, So if you did something wrong that was socially untoward, everyone would find out about it.
Oh yeah, they would, and it could
And
ruin you.
But people also used to be more honest. Like if they said, "I'm going to come over to your house and I'm going to fix that roof," by God, they did it. And people don't do that these days. There's an excuse. Oh well, I can't. This happened.
See, what had happened was the sun was in my eyes, and
Right.
Jupiter was ascending, and Mercury was in retrograde.
Yeah,
so.
Mercury's always a
And
retrograde.
the new series, Stranger Things,
Like, cut
started.
that out.
So,
Right.
can I throw something out there? Because I thought about this, before we came in, and like one thing that I hate about the politics of this era is, and it went on, all throughout the history of our country, but there's just so much dishonesty. There's so much disingenuous. There's so much, and now today with the technology we have, there's so much manipulation of media. You can take a picture of somebody and make it look like they're doing something that they never actually did. It kind of, I'm disheartened by that because now, like, for years, I'm big into the sports, and like I see somebody, a professional basketball player or something, cheating essentially, like, getting a foul in. They know it's a foul and they just sneak it in when the ref ain't looking, or in football, the lineman will hold, and they say you can call holding play and everything. And I see like video of this and I think, what? These guys are professionals. Why are they purposefully cheating?
Yeah, and also, don't they know everything they're doing is being videotaped?
Well, yeah.
That's the other thing.
Everything. Right.
Yeah, everything. And honestly, there's some just to kind of balance out what you were saying, John, because I do completely agree. But the other side of it is that everybody has, my cell phone is not on me, so I can't pull it up. But you know what I mean? Everybody has basically a way better than a camcorder in their pocket at all times now. So I think there's a lot of information overload, but there's also a lot that we're learning that some of us,
well, I mean,
white people here, that I didn't know certainly was going on.
Well, and that's why you hit on the idea. That's why with the advent of all this technology, the social media, everybody having a camcorder in their pocket, basically. I mean, there's a lot of good things that are coming out of that. I mean, because like I do a show where we talk to, a lot of times we talk to ex-Muslims and people that are atheists in like some Muslim countries, they can be killed for it, and there's been a lot of reform over the last 10 years in Islam because of the technology you talked about, because they're exposing it, they stone someone and everybody's got a camera in their pocket. So it ends up on social media.
Yep.
But the point I wanted to make about, so the politicians, they're dishonest. And you think, well, you're professionals, you want to get into government and guide our country, but then you're going to lie to us. There's this one ad that's been, and seemingly it comes up on every YouTube video I've watched recently, a Trump ad against Biden. And I wrote down, because I saw it earlier today. So they show images from some of the riots, and they say of Joe Biden, too weak to stop the radical, the radicals from tearing down America. Well, wait a minute. He's not in office. This is Trump's America right now.
Exactly.
Why haven't you stopped it?
And who is tearing down America, by the way? Because I was talking to Susan Turpin last night, and she's like, I live in Seattle. Susan Turpin from Divine Disbelief. And she was like, I live in Seattle. We're fine. Like, we're okay. The city is not a hive of scum and villainy right now.
Yeah.
I have a daughter in Seattle, and she says the same thing.
Well, and here's the thing. Like, it's not just the politicians to blame.
Oh, yeah,
It's
that's right.
the media, because you look at like Sinclair Broadcasting, they own all the local stations. And if you ask your average Joe who they trust more, the national news or their local news, they trust the local news. And the local news is literally showing this stuff like the world is coming to an end when it's really tiny pockets of things. And I think a study came out recently that like 93% of the protests going on right now are peaceful. And of the 7%, the majority, the violence that happens is started by either right-wing agitators or the cops. Like,
I was going to say the cops. Yep.
Yeah. That's what
I've heard
seen
the
and
same
heard
thing.
as well. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a multifaceted, multi-pronged problem. It's not just the politicians and the policies leading to this, but, it is also the fact that you have, right-wing companies like Sinclair that own almost all of the local news stations. If you actually, John Oliver did a piece on it, and it's actually horrifying when you learn about just
Oliver.
I do
how
too.
much
Which is why I
they
grinned,
do.
and then she
he's
said
so
horrifying,
good.
and I was like, "Oh, I haven't watched this shit. Crap! What did I just grin about?" I'm sorry, Kitty.
Let me put a pin in this this ad I was talking about, because there's just like two more points that happened that were just kind of disgusting to me. Like, first of all, they strung together sound bites, but showed Joe Biden, sitting at a table or a desk. He must have been at some outing or whatever, and then they strung like like how you have your verbal commas when you're talking. Like some people go So they strung together like 10 seconds of him just going and him sitting there like trying to portray it as if it was happening right then in real time. And then the tagline at the end was what is it? I can't read my own writing. Oh, the times are tough. The man is weak.
Ugh.
And the other thing real quick is, so they intimate that Joe Biden has done nothing to stop the riots. He's not in office. But another reason why that's bad, though, is that intimates that the people that are causing trouble are supposedly Joe Biden's followers.
Right.
And Trump's base sucks all that stuff up.
One of the things that really bugs me is when I point out some of the lies that Trump has told, the response I get from Trump supporters is, Well, all politicians lie.
Or
So it's
Yeah, but-
yeah,
or
It's
No,
only
he
okay
doesn't.
if Trump does. But it's only okay if Trump does.
I literally got
Somebody
that
else
one. I got no,
lies.
he doesn't lie.
It's all over Twitter.
And all of these like Trumpists, like a few years ago, they were so worried that Obama was going to turn us into Venezuela and they were going to take all of their guns and it was going to be this like dystopian nightmare and he was going to cancel the election because he wanted to be an authoritarian dictator. And yet now you have the same people saying, you know, I never thought I'd want a dictator, but if there's going to be one, I want it to be Trump. And I'm like,
And why? I mean, right now, just tonight, I saw right before I got on, I was so upset because I saw that our Justice Department is going to defend him, or I'm sorry, is going to help him prosecute a defamation case against a woman who accused him of rape 20 years ago. And he's been court ordered this recently to hand over DNA for the rape case, and he wouldn't do it. And hasn't done it. He hasn't complied with the court order. So now he's just countersuing her. And his defense, his entire defense is, I wouldn't rape her. She's not my type. I'm sorry if I just got
well,
my
that's not his defense.
Yeah, when he said that.
That's the remark that he's being sued over.
Sorry, that's the
And
remark, yeah.
and actually,
Yeah.
when I first saw that, I thought that was pretty disturbing. Whoops. I just accidentally clicked on something.
Most of what comes out of his mouth is disturbing.
But anyway,
yeah.
right.
but actually, the Justice Department is actually correct in what they're doing there. And the reason is, okay, Trump isn't bringing the suit. The woman is bringing the suit. She's bringing a suit for slander. And she's bringing a suit for some remarks that Trump made while he was in office to the media. And the reason that the U.S. taxpayers are footing the bill is because he was talking to the media as president when he made the remark. Even though the remark itself has nothing to do with his presidency, and he's not alone. When I saw the list of things that the Justice Department had to defend for other presidents saying about people, yeah, it's actually not that far out of line.
I just can't believe they can't come up with a Trump DNA sample. I mean, he throws that stuff out there like it's confetti.
Just follow him around.
Has
Rewind
anyone
20
seen his birth
years.
certificate?
Go back 20 years and the fucking dress and Monica and Clinton and the Republicans were all up in arms. But now they're just like, say what? No, what DNA? What's DNA?
Haven't they been pushing for I mean, well ahead of time because you haven't even had this election yet. Haven't his supporters been pushing for allowing him to have a third term?
Well,
yes.
He can't, but he can't. It is in the Constitution. He cannot have a third term.
He can't change that. He likes to think he can change it.
He wants it. He thinks he's owed it.
Mm-hmm.
But no, he cannot have a third term, and he can't cancel the election because even if he did, even if he found a way to postpone the election, you know, based on the Constitution, the electors need to meet in December and decide on the next president. And, you know, even if he were somehow able to stop that, his term ends in January of 2021. Mm-hmm. And if there isn't, you know, an election, then it would go to the next person in line, which Mike Pence's term ends that time. So it would go to Speaker Pelosi because as Speaker of the House,
Speaker Pelosi's term ends too.
Oh, hers. I thought. Okay, no, she's up for election. Okay.
Yeah, I know. I read an article on this, and it was really complicated as to who it would go to.
The order of succession is weird,
right? Yeah. Because
she wait a minute, she's not running for re-election.
Yeah, she is.
She is.
But if the election
she will
was
get
postponed.
reelected. But if the election got postponed, then she wouldn't get reelected either.
So then it would have to go to somebody who's next in succession that isn't up for re-election at that time because their term
was Secretary of State.
They'd have to call a temp agency or something, or
no, Secretary of State is.
You probably get a better president.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it is a temp job, so they
get better vocabulary as well.
I'm sorry, Granny. What were you saying? I apologize.
I just said that Secretary of State is next.
Oh yeah,
in line. Yeah.
Just be, but but the formula takes into consideration who's up for election and who's not. Then, huh?
Yep.
Right. Well, because it's based on your term ending. And
Right.
when you're up for election, it's to extend your term. But
Right.
Everybody who's up for election this year, their terms end in January at the same time as Donald Trump's. So unless he's reelected, he cannot continue to act as president because his term is over. So even if he canceled the election, then it would go through the line of succession to the next person in line.
Yep. Because we can't not have a president.
Let's
And a
hope
lot
he
of
cancels
this-
it because that'd be good.
What Kitty's talking about is how the Constitution is set up to prevent us just being
Yes, not having a leader.
Yeah.
Julie, we haven't had a president in 3.5 years. What's it matter now?
I mean,
Oh, I'm so with you on that, but technically,
and the thing is a lot of it comes down to the electorate being uninformed.
yeah.
And right now it is literally
Pathetic.
willful ignorance and choosing to be uninformed.
Ding, 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 ding.
Because at least back in like the 1700s, when the Electoral College was, made because they didn't think the people were able to choose their own governors, that they didn't think they could elect adequate people. That was the Electoral College, was because they thought the electorate was dumb, and they kind of were.
and
Some were
also
illiterate. They didn't
that's
have
right.
access to a lot of media like we do today, just pamphlets and flyers and newspapers. So they had an excuse. In this day and age, we've got iPhones.
No,
Like
exactly.
there is literally
Electoral
no
College
excuse.
is ridiculous.
Oh,
It's about time that the Electoral College was gotten rid of.
Oh,
Yeah, and
it's
Kitty was
beyond
right.
time. It's
Yeah,
beyond time.
Sandy,
yeah.
And all the
Sandy, it's
loopholes they
Pompeo.
used.
Yeah, Mike Pompeo.
Oh,
As the
yeah.
only person
Pompeo,
here who
right.
isn't an American, I have a question to ask the panel.
Ask.
Do you think it would be better in America if, like Australia, you had compulsory voting?
yes,
Yes, I
absolutely.
do.
Yes.
Oh, there's
I absolutely
compulsory
do.
voting in Australia. I didn't know that.
I have a
That's very
Yes,
cool.
26
yeah, you get fined if you don't show up.
I have a 26-year-old niece who has never voted and is not registered to vote.
Yeah,
26?
That's crazy.
Yeah. She is now married and still has never voted in a single election in her life.
Wait a minute. You have a 26-year-old niece?
Yeah. I also have a
You-
31-year-old nephew. My siblings are older than I.
Oh,
But
I was going to say you don't look very much older than 26.
I was going to say Robin has a niece
Aw.
that's 9 years
42.
younger
I love
than
that. That's awesome.
My-
You can stay, John.
My youngest daughter has gone to vote in two elections now. She on both occasions she put in a donkey vote, as in she went and got her name ticked off and didn't actually fill in the form, because you can do that in Australia. If you don't want to vote, you can waste your time and go and do that. But
Yeah,
that was
but you
because
won't
she
get
didn't
fined.
feel she under. Yeah, you don't get fined for that. You can exercise your right not to vote for anyone, but you have to show up to do it. That's the rule.
Oh,
And the point being that most people, if they have to go to the effort to show up, will actually vote. So
Will actually vote, yeah.
informal voting in Australia is fairly low. It's only about 3%. But
No.
she's done that because she actually hates politics, full stop, and she doesn't want to have to vote for somebody. And I'm like, that's fine, you can do that. And I'm figuring she'll change her mind eventually because she's still pretty young. So,
Yeah.
but at least she knows she has to go and do it.
Mhm.
And she's enrolled to do it. So
Does anybody here know the band Rush?
I've heard of them.
Of course.
I do know Rush.
The
Yes.
one they've got the song "Free Will," and one of the lines in that is, "If you choose not to
Not to
decide,
decide.
you still have
You
made
still
a
have
choice."
made a choice.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Very
And,
nice.
and,
I love that line. It's my favorite line in that song.
I love that.
and,
Yeah.
and before we get too far past that, and I'm sorry, Kid, I know you're trying to get in there. You guys were talking about Trump a few minutes ago, and me and Kitty were talking about this last night. And as a matter of fact, she corrected me on one of it. But Trump is out there talking about how great he has handled the COVID crisis, and actually, we are 4% of 4%, and I thought it was 5%, but Kitty corrected me. We are 4% of the world's population, and we have 20% of the COVID deaths. I mean, that stat alone,
100,000 people.
should keep anybody from voting for Trump. Of course, it won't.
for all
Well,
the
you know-
media's complaints, so especially after Trump with his racist things about calling it the China flu and etc. China has reacted so much better to this than the Trump
they
administration
fucked up in the
has.
beginning. Fair's fair,
Yeah, but-
you know, hiding it and everything like that. That was really fucked up. But they had a
in
freaking
defense
block
for
party
that-
in Wuhan. Like,
I mean,
Yeah,
in
they
their
did lock
in their
down.
defense on that, they did not realize at the beginning how bad it was.
yeah.
So, I mean, but by the time it got to America, the World Health Organization was already telling people how bad it was.
Mhm.
And what was Trump's response to that? Well, I'll discredit the World Health Organization.
It was more than
Fuck
that.
you,
It was
Trump.
already
Fuck
fucking
you.
up Europe. It
Yeah.
was literally
Yeah.
already fucking up Europe.
Yeah, and
There's
now
no excuse.
no, there's not. And now he's saying, "Oh no, he absolutely." I mean, there's tapes of him talking about knowing about it, like
How
back
bad
in
it was, yeah.
January. Yeah, and
Yeah.
he was like, "Okay,
Bob
well,
Woodward. Bob
we don't
Woodward.
want to cause a panic, and we'll fit." And then he just lied. He just lied
Right,
to the
and
American
you
people.
know what's just as bad as that is that Bob Woodward interviewed him, and then he heard what he went out and said in public, and he stayed quiet about it.
Now, I
right?
actually don't have a problem with that, and here's why. If Woodward would have released piecemeal what he found, Trump would have addressed everything individually, and it would never have had the impact that it had by releasing it together. The same thing happened with Watergate. You know, Woodward and Bernstein picked up a piece of information here, a piece of information there, and if they'd have gone public with it, they would have been told, "Oh, you know, this is no big deal." They would have made excuses
Oh,
for it
they would have.
because
Well,
they held it all.
Well,
And
right,
And with
Had
the way the
whole
news
thing.
cycle works, where
Right.
every day it's a new thing, it
Right.
just gets brushed away.
Well, and see, look, I see your point on that, but the fact of the matter is, in this case, you're talking about a very narrow scope of information. Okay, you know, Trump told him that, you know, I forget the exact words, but how bad it was, that it was,
Right.
you know, 5 times worse than the flu, and oh, you know what, there's kids too, you know, it's not just old people, you know, whatever else he said. And as soon as Bob Woodward hear him go out and say the opposite of that, I mean, he should have been on TV saying, well, no, this is actually what he told me just, you know, 5 days ago. But
Mhm.
I mean, in my mind, I think I know he had a story to tell, and there's a bigger story about Trump to tell. But that, I mean, to me, Bob Woodward, by not coming out, he's complicit in people's deaths too.
Yeah, and that's an interesting point. I don't know. I think I'm gonna have to think about that. You both made really good points, and it was something.
Did
that I
everyone?
hadn't thought about.
Did everyone see the video clip of Trump talking with those climate scientists and making a complete
Yes,
fucking
It's gonna get colder.
Oh gosh.
It's going to get colder. What? No, I
In the
think the
wintertime,
scientists
it
are
will
wrong.
get
That's up there with
colder.
raking the forest.
Yeah, then
Because
we'll
for
get
the
right back here
last
to
20
next-
years, we've been calling it global cooling. That's why. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah, and the scientists just like basically laughed up. Yeah, too bad that's not what the science says.
It says, and then he goes, "Oh, I don't think the scientists know what they're talking about." Basically, is what he said after that. And I'm like,
because he's
"You
smarter.
what?"
He has the biggest brain. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Oh, I
guys.
wish Ring
I
was
wanna
here
talk
right
about
now.
politics tonight.
If by
He's got
big
the
you
biggest
mean like
brain.
galaxy brain, as in mostly empty, sure.
He's got
Yeah,
the biggest brain and the smallest hands.
You know what? Honestly, I'd take that. That'd be fine. Like if he were actually intelligent, that'd be great.
Right?
No,
Did
he'd
you
be
see the-
dangerous.
Did you guys
He'd
see
be much more
the-
dangerous if he were
Well-
intelligent. If you put in like the cunning of like a Ted Cruz, like in like
Did you just call Ted
Yeah.
Cruz cunning?
he is incredibly
Everybody's
cunning.
cunning compared to Trump. Come
Hey,
on.
I would
Oh.
say that Ted Cruz is very cunning. He's very
Yeah,
cunning
compared
and
to
very
Trump.
manipulative.
And compared
But-
to Trump,
The most dangerous person in America, I think, and the one that has done the most harm to our democracy. Guess who? Let's see if you can guess.
Pence.
I'll give you a hint. It is a senator.
oh,
Kentucky.
Oh,
McConnell.
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 Yeah.
Mitch McConnell.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. I think he has
that
single-handedly
means-
done the most damage to our democracy.
I agree.
And he was doing it back before Trump even got elected because he
Oh,
was
yeah.
holding Barack Obama big time, you know, not
Yeah, he-
putting his nominees
Yeah.
up.
I feel so bad for Merrick Garland. Like, you saw how emotional he was when he was nominated for the Supreme Court, and McConnell stole that from him, and that was incredibly heartless. And I think that McConnell is the main driving factor behind why things have become so hyper partisan.
Yeah, I agree. Mitch McConnell does not care about anyone else. He has his own agenda and his own whatever, and I don't know. Like,
Is he up for re-election this time?
Yes.
yeah.
Yes,
And
he
there's
is.
a good chance he's getting defeated.
Oh, I hope
He's
so.
behind.
There's a woman who's running against him, and she's doing really well so far. Hopefully,
Of course, she also is kind of pro-Trump for a Democrat, but you know, maybe that's what we need in Kentucky. And if we can get McConnell out, even if it's someone almost as bad, it's still not him.
I'm from Kentucky.
That's what I keep saying about
and
Biden.
And honestly, a conservative Democrat is a win for Kentucky.
Yeah.
I was born and raised there. I will tell you that. Like, it's really.
Hey, you know, Jen mentioned the story about the climate symposium or whatever it was that he was.
Yeah.
Did you see the other story that just broke? I think today about the hysterectomies at the detention centers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did know about that today.
I
Julie
didn't-
did a video about it, didn't you?
Yeah, earlier today.
I
And I
didn't-
was so flustered, it makes no sense. So I hope it's watchable. I don't.
No, it's ridiculous. I can't believe that they're actually doing that. That's
Well, I mean, it's alleged, so I have to be very careful. You know, we have a presumption
Yeah.
of innocence, but yeah, charges are being filed.
There are a lot of media sources that have picked it up, but they all are citing the same original source. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I was happy to see
it could be a misunderstanding of the situation too. There may have been just a couple of hysterectomies, and there may have been genuine medical reasons.
I'll
for
tell you
them.
what, I heard a couple big time people in social media coming right out and talking about it as if it was like this one guy on YouTube that I really respect, Brian Tyler Cohen. You guys know who he is? I mean, he basically came right out and said it's factual.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, if they prove this and it's like how they say it is, I don't want to mess with Granny's channel, so I'm just going to say it lends itself to a certain word beginning with E and ending in X. That is not a good word, because we've already detained these people in camps, and now we're sterilizing. If the women are being
You're
sterilized,
gonna have to type that into the private chat for me, Julie, because I'm not picking up.
You're not picking up what I'm throwing down? That's all right.
Is that actually a banned word on YouTube? Is it?
I don't
I
think
don't know
so.
if it, honestly, I don't know if it is or not, but at this point,
I wouldn't have thought it was. I mean, you can,
let's just say
let's just say Star Trek did a whole thing about it with Rotha Khan.
What do you think? Yeah, Star Trek did a whole. They Next Gen had a whole episode about
selective breeding, selective sterilization,
There we
going
go.
towards an idealized person.
Oh,
Is
yeah.
that a fancy word?
Like Germany in the
Yeah, you
30s.
could say
Something
that.
they did in Germany. Yeah, yeah.
I was just about to say that. Yep.
Well, they did it
Also
here
something they
in the
accused the
50s,
founder of Planned
too.
Parenthood of
She's
being
right.
involved in.
Granny's right. Yeah, I'm sorry, Kitty.
No, you're fine, love. No, the founder of Planned Parenthood was also accused of being, involved in that particular theory.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not a bad word. We're talking about eugenics.
Inherently, it's not.
Yeah.
It's always been. It
It's
gets
a bad idea.
associated with bad practices and horrible things and racism. So that's the problem. But
Yeah.
like the word itself, no, but it carries the stain. It's like,
But I mean, you're spot on though. In that, like you said, if it is actually happening the way it's being claimed, then that definitely fits right into that horrible.
mhm.
I mean, when it comes down to it, words and labels do end up tarnished and, can be forever changed either for an individual or for us as a collective whole. Like, for me personally, I am not a feminist. Like, that label has become a little bit tainted for me. with some of the extremists in the feminist movement. I'm an egalitarian, which is what the original feminists were. They wanted equality. So I won't take the feminist label because I feel like it's become tainted, at least to me. Others may have a different view, and I'm not bashing them for that, but I'm an egalitarian. I want equality. Not necessarily equal outcome, but I want equal opportunity. Because right now, the way...
Full feminist, because I'm the same way. I believe that all genders should be equal.
Yes.
Thank you. All races, all genders.
And it's more than just genders. It should be everybody. And like the way that our society is structured right now, you're always going to have people, if you think of it like a race, you know, it's 100 meters. And there's some people that are starting at the 99-meter line. People like Trump, born, you know, and privileged. And there's not much you can do about that. There's always going to be people starting ahead. But you have certain classes of people, poor people, minorities, that they're not even starting at the 0-meter line. They are starting in the negatives. And not only that, but like they also have a freaking gunshot wound to their knee and they're supposed to run this thing. It's like, okay, they don't have any boots, so there's no bootstraps to pull themselves up with. And then you expect them to run this race when they're at a massive disadvantage. And it's not just minorities. It's also low-income people. Like it affects, you know, all races and genders and religions. Like the biggest disparity that we have, I mean, while there's a huge one based on race because of the former racist policies, like when it comes down to it, it's well, he's not naked, but it is essentially it comes down to income and a wealth disparity. And when you have people starting, you know, out in like disadvantaged areas and they don't have proper schooling, they're not necessarily able to get higher education and then get, you know, meaningful employment careers. I mean, that leads itself more to, you know, the possibility of a life of crime or low wage jobs where they're absolutely miserable. So, I mean, they don't have the option of, you know, life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, because if you are working yourself to the bone and not even scraping by, then how can you call that life, liberty, or happiness? You know, when you're slave wages and, you know, being forced to stay in poverty, essentially, with no way to get out of it. And with the main funding of schools coming from property taxes, wealthy areas that have high property taxes have better schools. Lower income areas where you have apartment complexes and such, they don't have the same kind of property tax, you know, revenue being generated. And that leads to the schools being completely underfunded. And that sets these people on a path for the rest of their life that they may or may not be able to get out of. Like, upward mobility in this country is completely shot. Like, absolutely. There's no more American dream. It's gone.
For failure, not success. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
No, well, it's good so that the rich keep getting richer and the poor get poorer, because keeping the poor is at the benefit of the wealthy.
Of course.
If you have people desperate, you will have them work for fuck all. And that's the fact of the matter.
That's exactly what I've said. If all these people have low income, have no education, hence no income, if they have a low education, then you have someone to clean your toilet. And you have somebody to mow your lawn. And you got somebody to fix the crack in the wall because you don't want to do it. You got too much money.
And
you don't want to get your hands dirty.
You have people who you can send to do dangerous jobs and pay them bugger all for it.
Absolutely.
And
it looks good to them
that's the
because
thing.
they're low income, but to you, it's pocket change. Absolutely.
Hey,
right. And it means extra money for them because they can profit more from it by charging more to the people who now can't afford it because they're not getting paid properly. So you're constantly getting pushed down.
Yep, it's a
you guys see this comment that's on the screen right now?
Right, that's why I left it there.
Yeah, I saw it. And
I was going to get to that one.
What do these countries think that transgenderism is something that can be passed on through your genes if you procreate? Like, what the? I don't get that.
Well, they thought gay was contagious. Why not?
The point of that comment is, in some countries, if you're a trans person and you want to like change your birth certificate or your details from a legal perspective, forced sterilization is a mandatory part of that. It was in Australia up until about 5 years ago. It has been in many other countries. I don't know if it is in the UK at the moment. I think that's part of what their new stuff is that they want to change. And it's and then you get the gender criticals and the TERFs and that who are fighting against that. It's like, oh, we can't have that. We can, it's a form of eugenics. It's like, if we can stop you breeding, it's a well, maybe your genes won't get passed on. And yet all the people who probably think that also don't think it's a genes thing. They think it's a mental issue. So
At that point, then it just becomes punitive. It's just to punish you.
It is because
it is. That's really what it is.
I mean, that is an inconsistency. So you just said, okay, they want to, take away your ability to procreate, but oh, wait a minute, no, it's all in your head. How can you? It's a double mouth argument.
But I mean, it's the same arguments they've made with gays and lesbians in the past. I mean, there was a big push to sterilize anyone who was gay in the past so that the gay gene couldn't be passed on. And yet it's all in your head.
Gay kids are born to straight parents.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really glad.
That's because there's these two sides. Sorry, what was that, B?
I'm glad I'm not the only one that noticed that.
Yeah.
It's in your head, but...
Yeah. But it's always this way. It's genetics or it's biology if it suits their narrative, but it's in your head at any other point because we want to be bigots because being bigots is what we do. And it just pisses me off because if you can't treat another human being as a fucking human being, you can just fuck off my planet.
Yeah. I mean, like, I knew from the time I was a little girl, like, my first crushes were boys and girls. Like, I just knew, like, that was not normal. It was different. I was the only person I knew.
No, but it is normal. And that's the problem with the way we're brought up, in that we're taught to think this isn't normal. But it is normal.
It is.
The vast majority of people on the planet are, to some extent, bisexual or pansexual. They don't actually care that much about what gender somebody is.
It's a spectrum.
It's a spectrum, and most people are not on the ends. And it's the same with gender identity. Most people actually aren't on the ends. They're spread out.
And in defense of Kitty, I think what she meant is in her mind at that time at a young age, she thought it wasn't normal.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm surrounded by, people that are Catholic, Christian, straight, like cisgendered. I mean, I am a bisexual cis woman, but, I was also a tomboy, so like you were saying, like that scale, like I was running, jumping, climbing trees, putting on makeup while I'm up there. Does anybody remember? Does anybody get that?
I do. That's Eddie Izzard. Very good.
I know that
I love him.
When that spectrum was explained to me actually by Surus, we were in a stream maybe a year ago, and he was explaining that the spectrum thing. And I said, all right, let me see if I understand you. So like, I'm heterosexual, but every now and then I see a guy and I go, yeah, maybe. Like, he says, that's basically it.
I had a
and that's the thing. Most people are on
at the same time when I was a little girl.
It's because the Ranger and the Green Ranger.
I don't even make it to the spectrum.
That's okay, because the other lie that you're told is that if you don't like sex, you're frigid or there's something wrong with you, and that's BS because there are ace people in the world.
There's nothing wrong with that.
They are actually part of the spectrum because not having a sexual drive is normal too, and it's part of that whole spectrum. So.
Well, I'm just thinking if one end of the spectrum is wanting males and the other end of the spectrum is wanting females and the center of the spectrum is liking both. If you don't want either one, you don't fit on the grid.
There's a little black
need to be
strip in the
special.
middle, Granny.
You're just
There's a little
special.
black strip in the middle, and that's you.
It probably is. Ace is probably somewhere almost smack bang in the middle where it's so balanced that you're just not interested in it.
Ace is the true neutral. It is the true
Ace
neutral.
is
of
true
the
neutral.
spectrum.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
About 5 more years, I'm
Ace
getting
would
there.
be the true neutral of sexual orientation.
Like, have you guys ever tried to play true neutral in like a Dungeons and Dragons game?
I can't.
It is almost
It's hard.
impossible.
I
It is
can't.
almost impossible.
Chaotic good. I can't do it.
Yeah, you usually end up moving over towards chaotic neutral.
Yeah.
Like I usually go chaotic neutral. I've played chaotic
it's
good.
the
I played
easiest
one
thing.
lawful good, and it was a
What is-
paladin, and it was
What
hard
is
for
this
me.
language
Chaotic
you guys started talking?
I'm sorry.
tabletop gaming.
We started
Dungeons and
talking
Dragons.
about
Foreign language you all of a sudden started
Indeed.
talking.
Chaotic neutral is probably, or chaotic neutral, is probably the easiest because you're basically selfish.
Yeah. Well, it's like the Halle Berry Catwoman film.
You can
Like,
be gay and ace. That's true. You can be straight and ace. Yeah.
yeah, it's like the Halle Berry Catwoman film where it's like, when I'm good, and when I'm bad, I'm only as bad as I want to be. Like, that was kind of like, I was like, oh hey, it's chaotic neutral. But I did play chaotic evil character once. That one was fun. But usually I'm chaotic neutral or chaotic good, depending.
Chaotic evil is just nuts, and they don't work in parties. We actually tried a party full of chaotic evils, and we all killed each other, basically. Because you just can't. Because
that was my thought.
The
only way that would work is if everybody in the party was evil.
So the reason why it worked was because of this particular campaign. It was a long-running campaign, and I got added to it after it had been going for years. And my character was kind of like a Time Lord. Like, that's the best way to describe it, in that if there was like, in the campaign, there was one character that he had a destiny to fulfill. And there were outside forces trying to prevent that. Well, my character was a race of like watchery types that if there was something that was changing, if someone was messing with space-time, then my character would be the one to go and try to fix it. Like the people that I came from would try to fix it. Well, on a different assignment, I was trying to stop a lesser old one from doing like bad stuff, and like it was just a pillar of
this adventure.
And so I go, and like my character is, a good character, and I go to fix this and stop the cultists and everything like that. And this is all in my backstory. And I'm done, and I think everything's fine. But what I didn't know is that lesser old one actually got hooks in my brain and caused a split. My normal personality had no idea, but there was a chaotic evil personality inside that was basically an agent of that lesser old one. And every now and again, the demon
let's
just
go
look
off
at
of
me, like,
D&D.
and tip me off. And so I was basically trying to sabotage the party when I was in chaotic evil mode. But when I was in chaotic good mode, I'm trying to help this guy reach his destiny, which was what I was assigned to do, because that was my next assignment after the lesser old one, was to help this ghost mode.
Everyone who doesn't play D&D is bored out of their minds right now.
Yeah,
I loved it.
And we're
Me
way
personally,
off
I loved
subject.
it, but
We're
Something I
supposed to
learned.
talk about anything. 3 of us here love D&D, so hey.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's something I could have told you if anybody had asked beforehand, because I've interacted with Kitty quite a bit on Discord. Never bring gaming up around Kitty.
But Kitty, you reminded me of a character I had that was a bard that worshipped in Norse mythology, so hated giants because that was part of the things, the Norse and giants. Found a giant slaying sword, an intelligent giant slaying sword that had more intelligence than my bard. And my bard was chaotic neutral anyway, but the sword was was a complete psychopath. So anytime we encountered anything that the sword thought was a giant, the sword just took over my character. And us as a party encountered an entire village of hill giants, and the party buggered off because they were terrified of getting killed, and my character couldn't.
My
was running a hippogriff
and they have
killed
on their
Does Australia have elections this year?
Hey, Granny was trying to get in a minute ago to say, hey, let's kind of
I was trying
I was trying to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't care.
But
I
is
just wanted to say
Australia
that.
having elections
No, you're
this year?
good. You're good. I mean, and
Sorry?
actually, something that you said a few minutes ago, you mentioned the UK a few minutes ago, Jen.
Yeah.
And then you had said a few things earlier about how the political system is in Australia. That I
Yeah.
forget exactly what it was you said, but it was surprising to me.
Compulsory voting.
Right, the compulsory voting. Well, like ahead of this stream, because I knew there's a big difference in the UK, and I went and looked it up, and I was very surprised at some of the stuff I found. Like over in the UK, the entire election season only lasts 25 business days, which
It's all
turns
you
out
Yeah, it's
need.
about the same here.
yeah,
And
which only turns out to be about 5 weeks. There's no political ads. The candidates are just given some time on public television to make their case or whatever. So there's no like
Nice.
political ads or anything like
Do they
that.
debate?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
that I didn't.
We
that I-
have like the 5 weeks before, but the parties do start a sort of kind of doing political ads before then. They have to be
Yeah.
very careful how they do it, or they could get in lots of trouble for it. But they put them up as information versions, not actual
Right.
campaigning, but just talking about politics in general.
I mean, just one more thing. I
Then
wanna
they
say,
advertise,
though,
but
they also do away with the money part, and I don't mean completely do away with it, but when you compare it to our system, there's a pool of money that each party gets.
Yeah.
And it worked out that each candidate was spending only like $15,000 per election cycle or something like that. So they're getting away from the 2-year-long campaigns. They're getting the money out of it. Like the one stat they showed was the United States, the political system here, put 6.5 billion into an election cycle, and over in the
That's
UK, it
nuts.
was like they put 25 million into it.
And they,
and one of the
And
I
and
agree
just think of all the things that we could do with all that money that's being wasted on political ads
decent
if we
public
put it
school
into
system.
something else. Exactly.
with well-paid teachers, that'd be nice.
and
I
one of the
agree that
reasons
on every
one of the
level.
reasons I like the way the UK does it is because whoever is president, if they're up for another term, who pays for all that shit for them? We do. We do. We pay for all the travel. We pay for them to have the guard.
Right. I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about
that. So
Britain. Yeah, I got
someone we don't
confused.
even like can be reelected? It's ridiculous. We shouldn't even have to pay for it. And so that's why I'm
and
for
even
it.
better with the UK and the Australian system, if you end up with a prime minister who's a load of trash, the party can get rid of them without there even being an election.
Yeah,
Right.
That's right. I never understood that.
It's
Yeah,
weird.
because
But,
the
it
prime
works
minister is not voted in as prime minister. You are voting for your local candidate, and then the party with the most candidates is the one that ends up in power, and that party elects a leader. The
Among-
people do
Oh,
not
okay.
directly elect the prime minister. The prime minister is elected by the party. So if the party as a whole decides that prime minister is a piece of trash and doing a bad job, they will get rid of them midterm, and they can do that because it was
How
the
lovely
party
would
that
be
was
if
elected.
if we had had that here.
I love that. Yes, John. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I cut you off.
No, it's good
We're saying the
until
same
you have it happen, 5 times in 8 years,
No, that's fair.
which
but
is what we had down here
here
in
is
Australia.
Our two main parties, well, the Republican Party in particular, just kind of goes into lockstep, and they will not
Yeah.
deviate, no matter how many facts they're presented with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything
No,
else.
see, that doesn't happen
It's
here.
more
Right,
president.
and think about how all of them were characterizing Trump before he was elected. All those people
Oh,
in the
yeah.
Republican Party, and then now they get behind him like sycophants. I mean, it's
Think
Yeah,
of it this way,
around-
though.
by sycophants.
We probably
Is-
wouldn't have had Trump if we had that where the party selects the president, but Mitch McConnell could be president.
Yeah, that's true too.
Oh gosh.
Imagine the damage that could be done.
Yeah,
frying pan fire.
I want no more electoral college. I want one person, one vote.
Yeah.
Is that possible? Can we do that? I mean,
yeah. I'm not a violent person, but I often do think about the damage that could be done to Mitch McConnell.
Here's the thing. When it comes down to it, I think that things are going to change in the US for the better. And like, it's not just me being, an idealistic millennial, but it's because even with COVID, like more people than ever are saying yes to a universal basic income, yes to universal health care. And the fact that we see that we're having a K-shaped recovery. If you're in the top 20%, you are having a recovery. Like the top 10% have made billions since this pandemic started. But if you're not in that top 20%, then your recovery looks like this. And you're just going down and slipping further. And I mean, we outnumber them.
And look, I'm not going to cast any shade on millennials here, Kitty. I love you. I love your generation so much. I married one of y'all. I'm technically Gen X, and Junk Shop is a millennial.
Yeah, I was born in 1986, so like I'm in those couple years between Gen X and millennial.
Yeah, you're right on that edge. Yeah.
So one more thing I want to throw out there for your guys to discuss is, shouldn't we have term limits?
Yes.
Oh God, yes.
Congress people, yes.
Congress, yes. Everybody.
If I still believed in a God, I would cry out to them. Yes,
What's
please.
that, Granny? What's that,
say
Granny?
no.
You say no.
No, not for Congress people.
Not for Congress. And even though, there are times that we get somebody in that's absolutely horrible and they're really hard to dethrone, more often we get someone in that's really good, and it's good to keep them there for as long as possible.
And they are.
Yeah, but for every Bernie Sanders, you get a Mitch McConnell, at least a Mitch McConnell.
Yeah, I realize that. I realize that that's the price you have to pay.
But they're in
I
the
like your argument, but here's the thing: there's 330 million of us in this country. You don't think, no matter who you're talking about, there's other people out there just as smart.
But I don't think it's always a question of being smart. I think there's too many people that are inexperienced who wouldn't know what they were doing. I mean, take Alabama. Right now, we have a choice between someone who is a career politician, a career public servant, and a football coach. Who do you think is going to be a better senator, the football coach or the career public servant? And,
depends on who the coach is.
It
depends on their policy for me. Like for me, it all comes down to policy.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But I also need some public service experience. You wouldn't have. I'm a technical writer. Okay, I would never apply to be an engineer anywhere. I can write manuals for engineers that they will understand. While I myself have very little understanding of what it is that I'm writing about, I can just follow formats and I know grammar and stuff like that. That's where my strength is. But just because I can write those manuals doesn't mean I can do that job. And so we're looking at that even a few more times removed. So this guy is a football coach. He knows how to motivate people. Good. You know how to do a city budget, a state budget, a federal.
But he does know about teamwork.
He got fired for being a poor team player.
Oh, sugar. No.
Okay, well, he definitely can't be a politician.
No, he's out. He's out.
He's out.
He also was involved in a Ponzi scheme where he defrauded people out of millions of dollars.
I mean, to be fair, look at Florida.
We're going to end up with him because he's a Republican. And a public servant,
Rick Scott, he was our governor. He was our governor, and he got elected after his company committed Medicaid fraud or Medicare fraud. He got elected to be our governor, served 2 terms as governor, and now he's our senator.
During my first marriage, we were visiting my in-laws' grandparents in Missouri, and they just elected a dead guy.
What?
In answer to Ricardo's...
They were all so used to. Oh, I'm sorry. 2 seconds. They were all so used to voting for the same guy's name that even though he had passed away before they had it was right before they couldn't get his name off the ballot. Everybody just voted for him out of habit anyway.
I heard about that as well.
What's that Eddie Murphy movie where the guy dies and then Eddie Murphy has the same name as him and he runs? And
yeah. I know which one. I can't think of the title either. But yeah.
But in answer to Ricardo's question, there's no question, hands down, Doug Jones has the better policies. If you look at the two of their websites, Doug Jones has plans for education, for healthcare, for handling COVID, all of those things. The football coach's entire platform is I support Trump.
Trump,
That's
God, guns.
Yep, that's it.
I got to tell you, all she had to say to me was Alabama and Democrat. And I'm like, oh, that guy's not going to win. And
well, he did win because he defeated Roy Moore, the pedophile.
Yes, he did.
When it came down to a Democrat or a pedophile, we did manage to elect a Democrat.
Yeah, it had to be a pedophile he's running against. Crazy.
Rapists and misogynists for president are okay, but not pedophiles.
Was it the distinguished gentleman?
We have our limits. What was that, Jen?
Yeah.
Sorry. And Kitty said something too. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Following on from what you said about old people and dying, why the hell are your high court judges appointed for life?
No.
Oh, that's easy.
Oh,
because they want them to not be political. They don't
but
want.
They are political.
Yes,
they're appointed directly political.
But they don't want them to have to campaign. They don't want them to be beholden to a party after they get on the bench. Because they are appointed for life, once they are there, a party can't take them off. They can't be voted out of office. And so they are free, supposedly, to make decisions that are bipartisan.
Well, and here's something. Here's something from history that'll show what she's saying is true. Okay, and it's not always true, but for the greater part, it is true. Okay. And it's so funny because right wingers don't even seem to realize this. But when Roe v. Wade was decided, the court was predominantly Republican appointees.
Yes, it was.
And then Roe v. Wade was challenged in subsequent cases, and each time it was upheld, it was a majority conservative court, a majority Republican appointed court. So there's an example of maybe some of those judges, their personal belief was they were against abortion, but they looked beyond their politics and they voted the right way on Roe v. Wade.
Thank you, John. There are women in my family who, and I've told this story a million times, so I'm not going to tell the story. I'm just going to say, I know people personally who go to the polls with a heavy heart because they can't stand the idea of abortion, but they remember before Roe v. Wade, and they remember what used to happen to young women before Roe v. Wade passed, and so they vote Democrat for that reason. And
and on the other side of the coin, you've got conservatives that vote on that issue, and that's the only issue they care about, where they vote against the people they think that are going to do away with a woman's right to choose.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah. Brett Kavanaugh is a really good example. When he was appointed to the court, he was an absolute disaster. He was a Trump appointee, and everyone expected him to do whatever Trump wanted. He hasn't. Since he's been on the bench, he has decided a couple of cases that Trump has been upset with his decisions.
Yeah, I violently despise that man, but yeah, he has. You're right.
Wasn't Trump really pissed off about the decision on rights in the working place for LGBT people?
Yes, and that's one of them. Kavanaugh voted against what Trump wanted on that one.
Hey, real quick, Granny, you reminded me of something that I wanted to make sure and mention way back when we were talking about, whether Trump was going to leave office or not, or how people wanted him to get a third term, and he hasn't even got a second term yet. I've heard a lot of people talking about how worried they are that if he loses, he's going to find some way to stay. And, they talk about how the military, they're not all Trump sycophants. Okay.
Not anymore. They're not.
Well, right. And they never were. Okay. When the breakdown in the military is that the officer class in the military is slightly more against Trump than the enlisted people, but on a whole, like 45% of the military are not Trump supporters. So this idea that people have put forward that the military will back him up if he tries to stay in office, not a chance.
No,
No,
John, that's called a proper education, sir.
Yes, and
That's
also
why they're against him.
that would be a military coup.
My
And
husband is a perfect example.
it'd be bizarre. Go ahead.
He was career Army. He's a retired major. He cannot stand Trump. And he currently works as a defense contractor.
Woohoo!
He cannot stand Trump.
All right, good for Mrs. Granny, Mr. Granny. Yeah. No, that is awesome. I think it was the 13th Amendment that we expanded to include.
13th Amendment abolished slavery.
Oh, sugar. I'm sorry, guys.
The 15th Amendment.
Are you thinking the 14th that was the vehicle for bringing everything to the states?
No, I'm thinking about the one that that you can't discriminate based on gender, and they included sexual orientation and transgender folks in that.
Okay, that's a Supreme Court decision, not a constitutional amendment.
That's what I was talking about.
Oh, okay.
But yeah.
I think the 15th Amendment actually gave African Americans the right to vote.
Men, African American men.
Well,
yeah. Black men got the right to vote before white women.
Yeah, we got it in 1919.
You got it like, what, 20, nearly 30 years after women in Australia did.
Women in Ireland could vote before I could, which I don't know why I say it like that. It's just frustrating.
Yeah,
well, because Ireland still has illegal
everywhere
abortion.
but here.
Yeah, well,
right?
up until like a couple of years ago, yes, abortion was illegal in Ireland, and they all
even in the case of miscarriage, where it needed to be done to save the woman's life, and the infant baby fetus wasn't going to make it.
There was a poor. There's a bad story about that, about a woman who died. That was terrible, and she was a.
I don't get why people don't understand bodily autonomy. It's like. It's the person's body. They can do with it what they fucking like.
Exactly. Like, for example, if I want to get tattoos on myself, that's my business. It's my body. It's my canvas. I'm of age. Way over of age.
No, I'm a mum. I love my girls and everything like that. But if you're in danger because of your pregnancy or whatever else, you have a right to abort that child because, I'm sorry, the right of the parent to live trumps that unborn child.
It does, and
let me fire off
and just say I don't care what the woman's reason is. I don't
either. But
let me fire off three quick points on that. Okay, I've told people I don't know how many times, if I can go and have my appendix out, then a woman can have an abortion.
Thank you.
2, there is inherent risks to childbirth. Okay, someone. Maybe they have a phobia or something. I mean, and they don't want to take those risks on. I mean, you can die for a greater portion of history. A lot of women died during childbirth. I mean,
we used to have a shorter lifespan than men up until the latter half of the 20th century, when abortion became the pill, invented by a Catholic, by the way, who got excommunicated for his trouble, and good guy, and contraception became more widespread, and then eventually abortion was legalized. That's when women started outliving men more regularly. But again, it's a situation of, I don't want kids. I never have. I mean, I think I stopped wanting kids somewhere around age 8. Like before that, I figured I'd get married and have a bunch of kids because I was raised Catholic. My parents are lovely people. They were very much in love. They had 4 kids, big Catholic family. That's what I was taught was how you were going to go. And then later, puberty kind of kicked in and there were complications of other things. Like, well, what if I end up in love with a woman? I don't know what's going to happen. Anyway, all of which is to say that also now I have certain medications that I have to take, or I'm not functional because I'm bipolar and I have 2 anxiety disorders. And I would have to go off all of those for the better part of a year if I was to carry a child to term, and I don't know that I would survive that.
No, so you wouldn't do it.
So I'm not going to risk that, and I'm also not going to risk passing this shit on. My family is fine. My siblings all had a bunch of kids. It's fine. My family will continue. I don't need to to keep any of this going, and I don't want to be anyone's mother.
I can't help feeling that the child welfare of the unborn child is secondary to other thoughts that these people have. I mean, there is definitely a push by a lot of these people that you're only a woman if you're a baby making machine.
Yeah, thank you.
And that's often a pushed agenda as far as these religious rights go. That you're not a real woman if you're not pushing out children all the time, and you have to push out the children so that we can have more people to indoctrinate.
Well, honestly, like even me, like I don't believe in like traditional gender roles like that where, woman needs to be home, having babies and stuff like that. But when my son was born, he was a full-term planned C-section, but because of the condition that I have, it had to be a planned C-section because my body just wouldn't have handled a natural birth. And he still spent the first month of his life in the NICU. And it was touch and go in the beginning. And they were just like, my body was a hostile environment for him. And so he, again, needed to be hospitalized for the first 4 weeks of his life in the intensive care unit. And so I was like, I can't go through that again. So when he was about 4 months old, I had sterilization surgery because I was covering my bases. But I literally had a feeling of loss and mourning, like feeling like I wasn't a full woman anymore, even though like logically I don't think that way. Like it's like so much of that societal expectation and pressure that it seeped into me. And I had that feeling when I lost my ability to procreate. I got over it, but
valid. It's completely valid.
It was hard. It was very like dissonant for me because it's like logically I know like that I've never believed in those types of rules that a woman has to have kids, but like it was like this deep-seated loss, and I didn't realize like those types of expectations can seep so deep down in your psyche that you're not, even if it's something that you don't actually agree with, that it would impact you.
Oh, right.
Well, if men could give birth, the right to an abortion would be the First Amendment.
Yeah, I've heard that. I'm sorry. One of my siblings she's a fantastic mom, and she's so wonderful, but she had 4 miscarriages before she was able to have a healthy child, and it just broke her heart. Like I've literally held her while she sobbed. She named all of them. I mean, she always wanted to be a mother from when we were small girls. So it was so hard to watch her go through that. And then eventually, she had to have a hysterectomy, and now she's terrified that she only has 1 child and she might never be a grandmother. Oh, and I said, don't worry about you. You had a daughter who is clearly straight. It's fine. Don't worry about it, which was a weird thing to say. I realized, but I'm like, it's fine. It shouldn't matter if you want to have kids, whether you're straight or not.
Women have kids too, yeah.
Tennessee, I'm sorry. I was talking to my Baptist sister. What can I tell you? So anyway, so I said that. I was like, it's fine. And she said, well, she might decide she doesn't want to. You did. And I was like, okay, way to attack. What is happening now? Like, I was like, when I was trying to be nice, when did I become the bad guy? Because I chose not to have kids. So to say what you're talking about, yeah, it's rough. And I felt bad in the moment. I felt like I'd done something wrong, and I didn't. I know that now, and you certainly didn't. Your kid's lovely, and you didn't want to risk, losing anymore. That's.
Can you guys?
I wasn't going to take that chance.
Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, John.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Now we can't.
Oh,
Yeah.
nope.
But
Lost you.
he'll be back.
Yeah, he will.
But no, like I wasn't going to take that risk, because like that's a human life. And the pregnancy was very hard on me. It was a high risk pregnancy, and I was absolutely miserable. Like I gained a bunch of weight, even though I couldn't eat anything. It was really weird. Like I had to be on Zofran round the clock, or I couldn't keep down water. My second trimester to delivery, I couldn't keep down anything without anti-nausea medicine they give chemo patients. Like that is how miserable pregnancy was for me. So when people are like, oh, pregnancy's no big deal, I'm like, fuck you. You have no idea.
It depends on the person.
It depends.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like you have no idea.
And pregnancy isn't for everyone. Not every woman's geared out to be a mum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also true. And
I
that's totally fine.
and like I said, my parents are lovely people and I adore them, but my mom had more children than she needed to have. And that's a weird thing to say because I was the last one. So
we're glad she had you.
Same.
I'm very grateful. And she
Yes.
also saved my life on more than one occasion. The woman is amazing. She is amazing. But it was really hard on her having 4 kids, having 3. She also had 3. She had the first one, 2 years later had twins. And then 8 years later, and didn't know she was pregnant with twins the whole time. So they were not. And she was, she was like 23 when she had the first one. 2 years later, 25 has twins. And then at 35 has me. And so I definitely got the benefit of being that far behind in the birth order. And also like they'd already dealt with all the weird, like they were just better parents at that point because they'd already raised 3.
I was 40 when Robin was born.
Aw.
Wow.
Man,
Wow.
I had to go out and now I'm not next to Granny. I feel some kind of way about that.
I'm
You're
sorry.
below Granny.
You just stay down
She's
in
on
your
top
corner,
now.
John.
Now I'm next to Granny.
Yeah,
Hugs.
I'll get
All
you,
the
my
hugs.
pretty.
No.
Well, like they say, when you're close to death, your life passes before your eyes, and then your body, it starts shutting down all your extremities because it's trying to save your organs and everything. It starts stops sending blood, to your. Well, that's what was happening to my computer. I forgot to plug it in before we started, so it was down to like 4%. So it was like locking up on me and everything. So
That's a relief there, John. I was not following your metaphor for a moment.
Yeah.
I didn't
No,
know
I mean,
metaphor,
hey,
man. And I was like, what is happening?
there's a wall
What
of
is
lovely
happening?
ladies here, so that's not a bad last sight. Just gonna say.
Well, yeah. Well, and if I hadn't have come back, then you guys would have been like, "What happened to John?"
We
Well,
scared
we
you off.
figured
It
it
was
was
all the estrogen.
Too much estrogen.
Well, we've been going for 1 hour and 15 minutes now, believe it or not. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. we have.
It's been good.
But
That
wait, I
explains
was
the
late.
note to junk
You
shop
guys
that
leave
says
and I'll.
beverage, please. Enlarged
I was
friendly
late, so
letter.
you guys leave and I'll stay here and talk for 10 more minutes. No, I'm just.
Okay.
I'm sorry, B. You didn't get to talk a lot. I feel like
No, it's fine. I appreciate the conversation. I want to say one quick thing, something most people don't know about me. After my daughter was born, which, by the way, on the 16th of the month, I will have a son instead because she decided to transition.
Oh, wow.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Oh my
Sorry,
Would he like to meet up
see,
with
now
Robin?
I have to fight the he-she argument here.
It's
So
hard.
I totally
It
said
is
at
hard.
work yesterday, I know how Granny feels. It's really hard
Yeah.
after 29 years to change your way of thinking. So
I've been on
Tyler
junk shop
is
for
starting.
10 and I still mess it up. So I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Right. So Tyler is starting tea on the 16th.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. The other thing I actually want to do a couple trans streams. So we'll talk about that later.
Sounds good.
The other thing I want to say is,
I'm sorry.
shortly after my child was born.
Julie.
Aw.
So nice to hear a mom who's like excited
I
about
know.
their
Yeah.
I'm trying. Damn
Well,
it,
I
Julie,
got-
you're gonna get me going.
I got the nervousness. I need to talk to you. Fidgety legs, hands couldn't hold still, and I was like, "What's wrong?" Well, I don't want you to be disappointed in me. And I said, "Did you rape or murder someone?" No. Then why would I be disappointed in you? So the information was bestowed on me, and I said, "I don't care. I want you to be happy. I want you to have a full life. I want you to find somebody who loves you, and whatever that takes, just do it. I don't give a shit." There was times in my life back before it was cool that I thought, I kind of want a penis. So, I wasn't far from that either. So, anyways, so after my daughter was born, soon to be son, was born, I got pregnant by a guy, and I was really messed up in the head because her father was taking her away from me, and my mother had just died 2 years previous to that. So I was doing a lot of drugs. So I had an abortion. Because I knew with the drugs I was doing and the drugs the father was doing, I was dooming that child to a life of hell, and I wouldn't fucking do it. So if everybody wants to judge me for it, don't care. I know it was the best decision.
I will judge you. That was a good decision.
I was mentally unstable. I had severe anxiety, panic attacks, PTSD. I was a mess. All I could do was drink when I came home so I could sleep, because it's the only way I could sleep. Is I would drink a bunch of alcohol, smoke a whole bunch of pot. You know, what do you got? Coke? I would do it. And I mean, I'm just being honest. That's how it was.
I mean, you saved, you know, that
I just want to show
child
you guys
from a hellish existence of like
I mean, I
fetal
don't know how
alcohol
that
syndrome.
child could have came out all
yeah.
fucked up. I don't know. I'm not going to do that to someone. That was
not existing is
and
a
it was
mercy.
horrible. I mean, I'm not going to say it was fun. It was horrible. I went in there. There was people marching outside. They yelled at me. They cussed at me on the way in. They cussed at me on the way out. I was treated like crap when I was in there. I came out and he's parked across the parking lot in the middle of the summer in Florida, and I had to walk all the way over there. I'm about to pass out because they rushed me out the door too soon. And then I laid in bed and cried for 2 weeks. So it was a horrible decision to make. But
Did they force you to do the transvaginal ultrasound? Because here in Florida now, they force you to have a transvaginal ultrasound if you get an abortion.
This was in 1992.
Okay.
1992.
So yeah, it's newer. Where now, if you're going to get an abortion in Florida, they force a transvaginal ultrasound, meaning they are essentially assaulting you because it's a non-necessary procedure, and you have to look like they do the ultrasounds while you're there, so you can see that to try to dissuade you from getting an abortion. That's and like the thing that stick inside you is like this big. Like transvaginal ultrasounds are no joke. Like and I've had to have them. I have had to have them because of issues with my ovaries and my uterus. Like I have to have a hysterectomy. Like I'm only in my early 30s, and I was supposed to.
John, you don't have a voice here. No, I'm kidding.
No, I turned my camera back on because you guys were coming to tears, and I wanted to show you the reaction I was having, because I was behind my avatar, just grinning ear to ear, listening to this wonderful mother, talking so sweet.
Shut up, John! You're gonna make me cry again.
And then I wanted to say to Granny too, and I wanted to say to Granny too, you may have to change the title of this stream to Gender Reveal.
Oh, that's very sweet. See, I'm okay with this. Like, you want a pinata, you want a cake, you want balloons, go for it. Just don't fucking set off a cannon and burn down the forest. Like
right in the middle of a dry prairie, you're in a drought. Anyway,
also, I have an issue with the vocab, and this is me being a pedant. I know. Hey, kitty. It's that is that sex and gender are not the same thing. They're just not. Yeah. I mean, gender.
And both are complicated.
It's a misnomer.
Yes.
It's a misnomer, yeah.
I want to say one thing, and then I'll let you guys go crazy again. One more thing. So they actually did brain scans on a large group of trans people. And out of it was like 99.7% or something, all of them, their brain scans came out with whatever gender they identified with. If it was a male to female, the brain scans came out as a female, which anybody knows anything about brain scans, they're different when you're male or female. How we think and how we process is different. And then all the female to males, all their scans came out just like they were males. So anybody who says it's just in your head, well, it kind of is in your head. But it's science. And it's fucking real.
And it's medical. It's not,
it's real.
There's also 12 pairs of chromosomes that seem to be tied to gender identity and in utero development. Plus, there's the hormonal wash during pregnancy that affects the way that the brain develops during pregnancy. Right. So there's all of that. And it's all known science. It's all young science, but it's all known. And these same issues that affect gender also affect sexuality. So the hormonal wash and various hormones also affect sexuality and how we develop as that. So it's a natural part, and it's also a natural way for us to develop as a species, because having people take on these other roles helps to balance us out in a society. So it's actually important as a social species that this happens, which is why these sort of things also happen in the animal kingdom. I know there's people who go, but there's no signs of trans people, transsexuality or transgenderism in the animal kingdom, but there is.
There is.
But there actually is signs of that. It's just that a lot of people, when they look at it, go, "Oh, that's just signs of homosexuality in the animal kingdom." No, there are actually signs of animals taking on the entire opposite role than what you would expect.
Well, and that's what used to happen. And this has always happened. We've always had trans people because it's normal.
And we have. Oh yeah.
Gay people, so on and so forth. But the and sorry if this sounds a little cultural, like I'm culturally appropriating. I'm not intending to. It's just that I attended a class in college where Choctaw gentleman was teaching us some traditional dances and stuff like that. And somebody asked about, well, could a woman wear what you're wearing right now? Would that be okay? Because he was in like full ceremonial man garb for the dance, right? And he said, "Oh, like cross dressing?" And then she was all like, "Oh, I don't know, I didn't mean." And he was like, "No, it's fine. No, no, actually, that's a long history in our tribe. We call those people two-souled." And so if a woman, if somebody who was born a girl but grew up wanting to be a hunter and a brave and all of that stuff, and she decided to take a wife, that was fine. And he said the interesting thing is, or if someone who was born a boy grew up and wanted to take a husband, like that was fine. But they would assume the role of the other gender. And then it was like, and the cool thing was when problems would arise in the tribe between men and women, they would send in the two-souled people as mediators to work out.
Because they were thought to understand both sides better.
Yeah, exactly. They thought that they were both male and female at the same time, and
oh my God, that's what I am. I'm two-souled. Right. You solved it, Julie. Thank you. I didn't figure out how to label myself.
Two-souled is more like we consider non-binary now.
I've talked to the raging atheist about this a lot of times because he's Native American, and when we talked about it, like he said, it goes back centuries in Native American tribes that this practice.
Yeah, and Sherman Alexie wrote about it, and he's a Coeur d'Alene. That's his tribe. So that is a completely different part of the country, completely different tribe. Yeah, it's all over.
I just want to I'm looking at the chat here. There was something that I wanted to address, and it goes back to the abortion
thing. Yeah, they've been talking about abortion for a while. I was thinking maybe I should do a whole stream on that. Well, anyway, go ahead.
A quick thing. It's okay. When you consider abortion, there's the violinist. If you've heard, the story of the violinist, where it's if you are told that this violinist, needs your kidney to survive, and essentially taking away your bodily autonomy to save the life of someone else, you can't do that. You have your own autonomy. And even if to save a full-grown person, your personhood matters. And pregnancy is incredibly dangerous. And it may seem like it's not, but it really is. And a fetus, sure, it has the potential to be life, but you can miscarry at any time in a pregnancy. There is no guarantee that it will be a healthy pregnancy. There's no guarantee that the child won't have something like Tay-Sachs, where they will suffer until they're 6 years old and die. Or hydrocephaly, where they will live for a few hours, a day or two at most. And just because it is life or the potential to be life doesn't mean that supersedes the rights of the woman whose body they are inhabiting. And I know some people get really upset about the whole, well, it's just a parasite narrative. But when you actually think about it, until the point of fetal viability, it really is no different than a parasite. And I say this as a mother, I love my child, but before fetal viability, it cannot exist outside the mother. It is living off of the nutrients of the mother.
It is literally a parasite.
It can cause death to the mother. That is the definition of a parasite. And it sounds cold and heartless, but in clinical terms, that is essentially what it is. Now, I am very pro-choice. However, I believe that the restrictions set out in Roe v. Wade are great. You know, like you have up to viability, no questions asked, you can end that. But once you reach the point of viability, then there have to be extenuating circumstances for the termination of that pregnancy.
And
I think that is perfectly fair and reasonable.
I agree. In every state. I'm sorry.
I want to answer something that Mr. Bear brought up, because Mr. Bear said surely any woman who is pregnant is cognizant of the fact they are pregnant. And no, they are not.
No.
There are women who go through their entire pregnancy and do not know that they are pregnant. They made a whole TV series of women who gave birth not knowing they had ever been pregnant.
And honestly, I don't know if it's denial ain't just a river in Egypt, or if it's in a couple of cases I read about, it was a
like
woman,
mental issues.
Yeah, exactly. It could be.
There's been a couple of cases of women who are raped who are in denial of the fact they were pregnant.
Yep.
And I mean, honestly, if a woman at almost any point in her pregnancy, if she wants an abortion, I'd be okay with that, because almost any point. You know, there is a point where basically the child is completely viable.
Yeah, it's viability for me. If it can exist outside the mother and is no longer dependent on the mother for survival, I mean, medical intervention could lower that window, you know, a bit. But I mean, when it comes down to it, I think the standards set out in Roe are perfectly acceptable and reasonable. And
those extenuating circumstances that Kitty brought up are extreme. Like one that I heard about, a child, the woman had just hit the 3rd trimester. This is very rare. This almost never happens, but they detected a genetic problem and I don't know what it was. It was a story I heard on NPR last year when I was driving to work when I still had a job. So I'm sorry, I don't remember. I can't cite my source well, except it was NPR, it was National Public Radio. But this couple had made they wanted this child. That's why she carried it so long. But basically they found out that the baby would be born, live a very short time, and its short life would be agonizing. It would be in pain the whole time. And
hey, does anybody know what's the violent argument? What's the violent?
Well, technically, she could have carried this child to term, given birth to it, and it would have been in horrible pain and then died.
John, the violence argument was what I brought up about how, you know, just because, you know, it's if you are told by doctors that your kidney is the only thing that can save this famous violinist, you know, you need to give up your kidney to save the violinist's life. And it's basically saying that, no, you don't, like, because you have your own bodily autonomy. And even for a full grown person that has contributed to society, they don't have a right to your body. Hell, even when you die, people don't have a right to your body. Like, if you are not an organ donor, your organs cannot be given to somebody after you're dead, and you're not using them anymore. Like, personally, I think that's kind of dumb. I think once you're dead, you're dead. Like, you know, I don't care, like, in that respect, because again, you're not using them and they could save lives. So
I mean, most non-believers, I think, would agree with you. It's the religious people that wouldn't agree.
That's
with you.
exactly what I was
No, and that's exactly why they don't allow you to just take organs willy-nilly.
We could discuss this all evening.
Sorry.
Can I just say something else to what Jake said?
All right, one more point, and then we're going to start closing down. We'll let everyone chill and say goodbye. But go ahead, Jen.
Because I just want to say that if you're gonna, it's all very well for you to say you want a conversation on this, but by conversation, most of the people who want that conversation don't want a conversation. They want to dictate to women what they can and cannot do with their own bodies. So no.
Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and go around, and we'll give everyone a chance to shill for themselves, tell us what's coming up on their channels, or if you don't want to plug your own channel, if you want to plug someone else's channel, that's fine too. And then we'll close it out, and we'll start with Kitty. Kitty, what have you got going on?
Well, I'm still just sewing lots and lots of masks. That's literally what I was doing before the stream. Like, I've actually sewn 270 masks so far that I've given out.
I'll be right back.
And like, it was great. Like, the community was fantastic to me because my sewing machine started to die, and I did a GoFundMe and it surpassed the goal like in 24 hours, I got the new sewing machine, and I've sewed 200 masks on it because I was at about 70 when my old one like kind of conked out, and the excess went to materials and whatnot. But like, the community was great to me, and I want to say thank you. And I will continue to sew masks because we're probably going to need them almost indefinitely now.
Yeah, like get your information on here somewhere, or nice one, John.
Kitty
Or,
made
I made that for him.
Kitty made it.
That is so cool.
It's got horses on it.
Hey, did G-Man show up while I was gone? I thought I heard somebody say whatnot.
No, I don't know.
But Godless Engineer just hit 50,000 subscribers, and there was a special for that. If you're not a subscriber, please go subscribe to him. I want to try to get him to 100,000 like ASAP, because he makes amazing content, and he's such a wonderful human being. Literally one of my favorite people on YouTube. Mero, Navardia, like she's climbing up there too, and she's another amazing, lovely person. Like, I don't have a channel of my own. I basically just hang out on Twitter and in Discord, and I sew masks and play video games. Like, that's pretty much my life. And, be a mom, obviously. But in my spare time, I sew masks and play video games and, listen to YouTube. But you guys have been lovely. Thank you so much for having me, Granny. Maybe we could do a stream on, like, actually discussing abortion at another date, because that seems like we could have a conversation that would last at least an hour.
Yes,
I think we should.
definitely.
Oh, easily.
And I'd love to be a part of that. All right, I'm done.
Okay. Jen.
Yeah, I'm Jen from Jen's Little Corner. I do all sorts of content, although most of my content at the moment is my news panel show, because I'm in the process of moving house, so I haven't got a lot of time for doing other things. But yeah, I mostly do LGBT, science, and I do lots of stuff. I even do things where I'm naked.
Wait, what was that? What?
Yeah,
Hey,
You got John's attention.
Get it.
So yeah, that's me. Go check me out. Literally.
Are you at the library?
Sorry?
Are you at the library that we could check you out?
Yes.
You've got to be kidding me. What was that,
Oh,
Granny?
gosh.
That was a dad
I
joke.
think, Godless Granny just came off with a dad joke.
Joke.
And I had to follow up with the kitty pun.
Right.
Oh, I caught it.
Okay, Julie.
Hi. Okay, there was my hair is in transition. All right, that's what's going on.
I like it.
I bleached it so that I could dye it blue. It'll be various shades of blue later. It's weird to me. Thank you. It's weird to me because I'm used to having long dark hair, so I feel weird.
Are you dying it blue because you're going to be Marge Simpson on Halloween?
No, but that would be great. No, I'm actually going to the plague doctor. Because come on, I don't care if everyone else
with the whole.
Does it. How do you not do it? Yeah, the whole thing. Yeah, I've got the mask.
Oh, brilliant!
Yeah, it's gonna be
pictures.
awesome.
We need pictures.
Oh, I'll send. I'll put up pictures. Don't even worry about it. Yeah. So anyway, we I have a YouTube channel. It's called Wine and Reason. That's an ampersand, the ligature, reason. And I come on Tuesdays at 2 U.S. Central Standard Time and talk about whatever is bothering me that week, or any public figure who's messed up. I punch up, not down. And it's often a bit local. It's often a bit like Memphis, Tennessee, southern U.S. kind of stuff. But there's always, we can always do more. So, and today I had a special bonus episode planned because I had a friend who was going to come on, but they didn't get off work till later. That actually had to be pushed because somebody had to come do work. So that'll be next week. My guest will be, and we will be discussing social safety nets in the U.S., which if you've ever had to use them, they suck. And if you haven't, there's a lot of misconceptions about what you think the welfare or SNAPs or unemployment, any of that stuff is. And so we're just going to try and dispel some of those myths and talk about what these social safety nets do and what they sadly don't.
Cool.
Yeah, and thank you. And Junk Shop Library is my spouse, and they run the Junk Shop Library, and they do improv Bible study from an atheist perspective on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and they do like a patron thing. Oh yeah, and I have a Patreon, and I haven't thanked. I gotta start thanking my patrons more faithfully. I'm so sorry, y'all. Sorry, Lone Wonder. But so wine A&D reason, because Patreon doesn't like the ampersand apparently, so it's Patreon / I feel really guilty for saying that right now, but I'm laid off, so there you go. My
Don't feel guilty.
I didn't.
Yeah, that's why I didn't
laid off right now.
That's why I didn't plug my Cash App, because like, yeah, sure, more supplies for the mask sewing effort would be great, but like people are hurting right now, so
Yeah,
I feel you.
We're okay. It's just it's getting scary, but I'm applying for less jobs, so fingers crossed. All right, whatever that means. I'm an atheist. I don't believe in that, but
I'll cross them off.
Thank you. Fingers toes.
B, what you got?
I have nothing. You guys haven't even seen me around in like 2 months.
Yeah, no, where you been, B?
I've been working a lot and in a funk. Honestly, I've been in a funk for a couple months, so I've just been. I became a little introverted for a while there. Starting to come back out of my shell.
Good.
But
because we need more B. We need more B.
We all need more B,
Yeah.
but I'm glad you're feeling better. And
We
I also
all
like
need a shot of vitamin B.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've used that line,
Right in the
John,
hip.
as well as, do you have any Italian in you? No?
No, you are not.
Anyways.
I've been hit on with that line, and not by someone as nice as you.
I'll try it when I see you. Anyways, yeah, I haven't been around. I've really started missing everybody and missed out on a bunch of stuff I wanted to do, and so we're gonna kick it in gear here soon. I have fixed internet that works great. Did you notice? I haven't disappeared or buffered. Right?
No, it's really good. You didn't junk shop at all.
Nope.
I know. I'm very sad because I know that's one of my things that I do. No, I'm kidding.
You were just taking a shot. You were just taking a shot at me. I know.
So anyway, I want to get back into it, and I want to start streaming again, and it's going to have to be a lot of late evenings or weekends. So because now I'm off every weekend. So, yeah. So you guys, pretty much everybody has me on Twitter. Holler at me. I'm back, and yeah, let's get some shit done. Let's get some content done. I'm ready.
Awesome.
Okay, very good.
Julie, check the private chat.
And Kitty, by the way, I think you're brilliant. You're always welcome on any of my streams, anytime you want.
Sure. Yeah, just Kitty the Atheist on Twitter. I don't know if I follow you or if you follow me, but just
I'm pretty sure we do. Yeah, I think everybody here.
Just send me a DM.
Yeah. Okay. Good deal. Well, the rest of you know you're always welcome. I don't have to say that.
John, what do you got going on?
Well, first of all, I want to ask Julie, are you on Twitter?
I am at J LaVoice. Is that right, everybody? Yeah.
We can start a group for this chat, and then we can all find each other.
V as in Victor, OICE, and I'm friends with Faye.
Okay, we might follow each other then. Is that so? Yeah. As a matter of fact, I just went through my followers today, and because sometimes like you get a follower and you miss the DM about it or something, so I just went through today and followed everybody that's following me that I hadn't got around to following yet. So.
No, very cool.
Your feed's gonna blow up, John.
Yeah, probably. I mean, so I'm John Peterson. I do content on the Raging Atheist channel, which is known as The Rage. Every Sunday with, as Julie just mentioned, Faye the Most Gracious, we do a stream called the Apostate Alliance. And mostly we talk to ex-Muslims, but we do talk to apostates of all religions. But we do start every show with stories from the world of Muslim apostasy and stories, about humanitarian issues. And tonight was kind of like a little preview for me because we started a new show a few months back called the Women of Atheism Roundtable, and that's on the third Thursday of every month. And this week, Faye is going to be running the panel, and it's going to be all ex-Muslim women on to talk about.
Oh, wow!
Yeah,
that's interesting.
To talk
what time is that?
All right, it's going to be an afternoon thing. She hasn't picked the time yet. It's either 7 or 8 UK time. So for Eastern United States, that would be 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah. Cool.
But as with any stream, it'll go up as a video. So if you miss it, you'll still have the chance to watch it. And I do want to say too, if anybody is here on this channel for the first time watching, or you just want to recommend something to somebody, come over here and check out Granny's prepared videos, the scripted videos. I think she's one of the best at doing those prepared videos, the scripted.
Oh yeah,
definitely up and coming.
Oh, yeah.
She is kicking
anyone
ass.
shenanigans like this, she'll see well crafted stuff.
And we're not just saying that because we're on your stream right now.
I'm not
Yeah,
saying that at all.
I'm the asshole that will tell you suck, like, to your face if I thought so. Like, it gets me into trouble. No, because I don't think that, so I'm not going to say it.
And then, and I don't want to let my boy down there, the Raging Atheist. Tomorrow night, he's going to do an open room. So, and you can have up to 10 people in the StreamYard room. And so, I don't think there's any particular topic. I'm just going to fire it up and see what happens.
Hey, if I'm free, I'll see if I can join.
Yeah,
I love these discussions and getting to chat with people, and that's the thing I like most about social media and technology is we are more interconnected now than we've ever been. Yeah. And it's there's negatives, sure, but there are negatives with everything. But I think that it's going to lead to more positive change, especially for here in the States for us, because we can literally talk to people in Canada and the UK and Australia and Europe and be like, hey, do you have death panels? No? Okay. Like, do you like go into bankruptcy because you can't afford your health care?
Yes.
No, that doesn't happen?
Never.
Oh, we're getting screwed.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're getting screwed.
Yep, we are.
We never even really got to talk about universal healthcare, and we were talking about it before.
We should do a stream on that too.
Yeah,
we should.
Hey, I want to say this after hearing, Kitty
You're gonna get jumped on, B.
Making another prescient point that she always does every time I talk to her. You've got to start doing your own content on YouTube. I think you would make some fantastic videos, honestly.
Why do you think I tried to snatch her up, John, before she figures this out? Shut up, man. You're going to ruin my content.
Oh, gee, I promise. I will come chat with you whenever.
We had a plan.
Okay, and what I have going on is just a couple days ago, I released my first piece of animation. It's just a 1.5 minute video. It's called A Bit of Fun. It's crude because first of all, the computer program that I did it on was not designed to do animation, and the computer was I was having to wait for the computer to catch up to me.
Wow.
Oh wow.
There were also some issues because I've never done animation before. The gorilla pounds something, and I wanted to have the thing. Well, it's Ken Ham's arc, and I wanted to make
that might get the video demonetized.
That's awesome.
When you first said crude, I was like, because of Ken Ham. That's why. Right?
No, it's crude
I've watched
because
it.
it's not smooth. The arc is supposed to get pounded, but by the time I figured out how to do that, I'd already had 10 hours of work into it and realized I needed another line that was lower than the ones I already worked on. And I didn't know how to move those lines to get them in the order so the arc doesn't move until the end. Trying to keep the gorilla's arm attached Yeah, every
Same.
time he would swing the arm would fall off of the body, and I was having to adjust the X and Y axis with every movement of that arm. And so, yeah, I was learning how to animate, and like I said,
Once
it's only
again,
a
you
minute and a half
amaze
long.
me.
But yeah, it was fun. I have something in the works on flag burning. It's about, the script is finished and I was all ready to start shooting it, and then got called into an emergency meeting, that I'm a Kaja for. And as soon as I got back, I got a message back from Vice Rhino.
Oh,
I had asked you to tap with me on responding to a Ray Comfort video on evolution, and he said yes. So I put aside my flag burning, and I'm working on this collab with Vice Rhino, and I'm not sure how long that will take. So I will have that script finished sometime tomorrow. And if it takes a while to get that one together, I'll finish the flag burning. And if we get that one done first, the flag burning will come later.
You are about to enter into the depths of sheer idiocy if you're going to talk about Ray Comfort.
I already figured that out.
worse than Ray.
Not a lie.
Oh, I made a meme. I'll DM it to you guys
Please do.
because it's one of the first memes I ever made, and it regards Ray Comfort in a banana. I'll just
Excellent.
Enough said.
So anyway, that's what I have going on, and I am 36 subs away from 500. And
Party time.
Yep.
Right?
As soon as I hit 500, I will have a 500 sub celebration. So I need
I want in on that.
more.
Okay,
Yeah.
if you are not subscribed, I can't English
So,
today.
thank
If you are not subscribed, please do and
Yeah.
share. Get more people
Hit
to come
like,
here and sub to her,
subscribe.
please.
Hit that like button.
Away.
Hit that
46
bell.
away.
Share it out.
Yes.
You're 46 away.
I was last time I looked. Yes.
Hey, everybody in the chat and everybody that's here in this room, copy the link to this channel. Get over to Twitter. Let's get her to 500 tonight.
Yeah, let's do
Make
it.
it happen. Let's do
I
it.
want that party stream. I'm doing it for selfish reasons. I want to party on
Absolutely.
Red.
Yeah.
You guys get on
I'm
that
doing it
shit.
because like it gets her closer to
35
1,000.
off.
Guys,
Granny. You're
When have we
35 off.
ever needed to celebrate more? Like I will take any reason. at this
Right.
point.
Right?
Right. Me and you,
That
Julie.
sounds good.
Yep. I've got 113 subscribers. That's weird. That happened at some point.
I have none because
I
I,
haven't
don't
looked
put
in
out
over a
content.
month.
Look at a channel.
I have more subscribers. It's because somebody pitied me. She has no content. Let me subscribe to her because I haven't done shit in 2 months.
Yeah, I'm always surprised by that. I see lots of people on YouTube that have no content and then they've got like 300 subscribers or something like that.
That's
Yeah.
just love,
It's a-
John.
well,
That's just love.
I know. Yeah, I know how that phenomenon happens. It's just like if you sign in and have an account on YouTube, it automatically creates a channel for you. So you can be you can be somebody who what's the word? Take that's
A
not
viewer?
the term. Yes, you can be a
Viewer?
viewer. You can be somebody who takes in a lot of content, but you don't actually produce any. But you still got a
Yeah.
channel, and then people see your name and they follow you just in case. But yeah, but if they
Yep.
have no content and they have 300, why do I only have 113? Now I'm annoyed.
Maybe you have too much content.
Yeah. Sub
I'm
to
kidding.
all the lovely ladies.
Maybe.
And John.
Okay. So, with that said, thank you everyone for coming. Thank you, Kitty. Thank you, Jen. Thank you, John. Thank you, B. Thank you, Julie. Thank you to everyone in the chat. And until next time, live your life.
Peace out, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.